three main things that you need to focus on to make sure that when you're losing weight, you are not killing your metabolism, because it's very, very important to keep your metabolism as high as possible, because the lower your metabolism is, the harder it's going to be to lose weight. So first and foremost is going to be the way that you're eating. You want to make sure that you are eating enough. And I know that that is obviously eat more to weigh less is what I talk about, but it's against everything that we've heard in the diet industry. But if you are eating too little, it causes your body to adapt. And when your body adapts, your metabolism lowers to meet the need. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough food to keep your metabolism high enough so that you're losing fat, but not losing the essentials that keep your metabolism revved, which is your muscle mass. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough food, but eating enough food with a proper spread of your macronutrients. So that's going to be like your carbs, your proteins, and your fat. So in your food intake, you want to make sure that you're eating enough food, and in that enough fiber and enough protein especially. Those two things are very what's called thermogenic, which means your body burns calories just digesting them. So it's super, super important that you're making sure that you're eating enough calories. That's going to keep your metabolism revved. And then the type of calories that you're eating includes high amounts of protein and high amounts of fiber, so that your body is just constantly burning because of the types of food that you're eating too. The second thing is going to be to lift weights. And some of us are doing this already, some maybe not so much, but lifting weights is key to making sure that you are managing your metabolism properly. So if you are lifting weights, that is going to make sure that you are losing as little muscle mass as possible when you're dieting. You're going to lose so much more muscle if you don't include any lifting than if you were to include some. If you're including some lifting in your routine, then often the percentages can get into like 80–90% of the muscle mass that you're actually keeping versus what you'd be losing if you don't lift. So you want to make sure that you're lifting. That's going to keep your metabolism super high, and it's going to make sure that all that food and the protein and fiber that you're intaking are going to good use. So make sure that you're lifting, but also the key to lifting for metabolism purposes is making sure that you are lifting at least with the intent of building or maintaining muscle, which means that not every exercise that uses a dumbbell will count. So not every single exercise that uses a dumbbell means that it categorizes in the lifting category. Some of those are cardio workouts. Some of those are HIIT workouts, sometimes like a boot camp, or sometimes there's like the body pump classes at gym, things like that. Those tend to range more in the cardio zone. If you're trying to lift for the purpose of building and boosting your metabolism, then you want to lift with a muscle-based focus. So your lifting needs to be with the intent of building or keeping muscle, which means if you are doing super high reps all of the time, that is going to be more cardio based. Lifting for muscle means that you're changing up the phases periodically, but most of the time you're probably right around like the 8 to 12 rep range. Going too far above that for too long of periods of time, you're moving out of the muscle building territory. You can go up or below that, occasionally, because going below 8 to 12 is going to give you more strength. So you do want to get stronger, because that's going to help you to be able to lift more and be able to build more muscle. And you can go above it every once in a while, because as you build your endurance, that means that when you drop back down to the heavy weights, you can hold on to heavier muscles for longer periods of time. But for the majority of the time, you want to stay right within that 8 to 12 rep range, and you want to lift weights that are challenging you. If you stop at 10 reps, but you could have done 15, then your weight wasn't heavy enough. So you want to be lifting with that intent in mind. And mixing it up, it doesn't have to stay exactly the same all the time, but make sure you're lifting for muscle. Think muscle. Muscle equals metabolism. Just keep that in mind. And the third thing to keep in mind is time. And if you guys have followed Eat More to Weigh Less for any length of time, you know that that's one of the things that we're always talking about, is give yourself enough time to lose fat properly. When you put yourself on super, super tight deadlines, then you're likely to do something that's a little too extreme, and you're not really focusing on fat loss anymore. Remember, the focus when you're trying to get smaller or look smaller is to lose fat, not muscle mass, because losing fat is going to help boost your metabolism, but losing muscle mass is going to lower it. So if you're focused on trying to get everything done in these super short time spans, then you're probably going to end up losing too much weight, which if you are losing more, we talked Friday about if you're a woman and you're losing more than like a pound a week after the very first week, then it's probably going too fast. And for guys, 2 pounds, so guys are not supposed to lose really more than 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if you're losing super fast or you're forcing yourself, you're rushing it, then more than likely you are going to start doing some damage to your metabolism because you're going to do things that are extreme. They're going to be more on the extreme side. So give yourself enough time to diet, but at the same time, you don't want to carry it out for too long without taking breaks. So a lot of times we will recommend diet breaks, and that just simply means that in order to prevent those plateaus and the metabolism lowering, you want to take breaks where you're completely off of dieting for 1 to 2 weeks at a time. And that's going to come every either 4 to 6 weeks, you'll take a week off, or every 8 to 10 weeks, take 2 weeks off. Completely off from dieting, eat at maintenance level calories so that you can remind your body of what maintenance is, so that way it can continue to react when you go back into a deficit. So even when you are dieting and doing it the right way, you don't want to get to the point where you're just dieting for days and days and days on end. Now, making sure that you're giving yourself enough time is just going to be really, really, really beneficial, because if you are trying to do it too quick, you will kill your metabolism. But like I said, if you're going to stretch it out, plan for the diet breaks every like 4 weeks or 8 weeks. Take time completely off from eating less and go back to what your maintenance level calories are. Give your body that reminder of what maintenance is so that when you go back into the deficit again, it keeps reacting. Just to wrap that up, you guys, make sure you're giving yourself enough time. And if that extends to, if you're getting into like the 5-6 month mark of dieting, even if you've been doing it absolutely perfect, taking your diet breaks along the way, eating enough, getting enough protein, getting enough fiber, by the time you get to like 20 to 24 weeks, I'd recommend that you take a very long break at that point, because once again, you want to take care of your metabolism. So if you've been going 20 to 24 weeks straight, that's when you want to take more than a month off and eat just at maintenance and focus on maintaining your loss. Because remember, it's not just about losing. If you can't maintain it once you've lost it, then none of it matters, because we want to have permanent fat loss here. So you want to have periods of focus on the fat loss and then periods of making sure that you can maintain it. And so after going 3, 5, 6 months of just focusing on fat loss, even if you have your diet breaks, take a break, take up to 12 weeks off completely from dieting and just focus on maintaining. And if you do a great job of maintaining your weight during that time, like you should, then you should be able to go right back into the fat loss phase again and lose fat. And that means that throughout this whole time, you are losing minimal amount of metabolism and muscle mass as possible, which means that your journey is it's not going to be as stressful because you're starved the whole time or you're experiencing all the ups and downs of a slow metabolism.